Hi everyone, my name's Adam Voigt and I'm the founder and director of Real Schools. The purpose of this video is to introduce you to the Real Schools community and to unpack for you some of the potential benefits in your school becoming a member. The first question you might have, and it's a fair one, is what is the Real Schools community? Well, essentially the Real Schools community is a way for yours and for other schools to come together through Real Schools to receive some support, some understanding and some professional learning in the key areas that really matter in making a difference in today's schools. For our school leaders, what we'll do is touch on the aspects that you need to focus on to go about the enormous task of building a successful school culture. And for our teachers, it's really about practice. It's about all of those little things that you need to do in the classroom, in managing difficult behaviours, working in trying circumstances, building fantastic student-teacher relationships, and how you can better leverage those relationships for improved student learning. It's a real challenge in contemporary schools, and I know this because I'm a former principal myself. It's a real challenge to keep those key areas around practice and culture on the professional learning agenda for your school. You might be time poor in that it's really difficult, you haven't got that many days, you haven't got that many meetings to be able to squeeze this stuff in. You've got a lot of competing priorities for that time. You might be remote, you might find it really difficult to be able to get that training and learning to come out to your school. And you might have budget restrictions as well that make it difficult to focus time after time on who you're going to bring in, who the consultant is that you're going to bring in to run the PD that you want to run. So this isn't about any of those approaches, this is about a simple, affordable partnership so that your school is able to make sure that the things that you know, using your head and heart, that really matter are on that professional learning agenda for a 12-month period. We at Real Schools think that there are 10 specific benefits that your school will receive from being a Real Schools member, and I want to rattle them off and just give you a little bit of detail about them today. The first one is for your school leaders. Your school leaders are going to receive a school leadership culture article. So what that means is that once a month you'll receive a professionally produced, provoking, conversation-starting article that you can share amongst your school leaders. You'll have full reproducible rights to the article within your school, and you can use it to get that conversation and going and get that dialogue open about what it is that you need to do in your school and how you can match some of the operational tasks that you have to that vision and for the values that you also have for your school. We're going to cover every topic through from performance management through to how you can get on the same page about NAPLAN and what are the attitudes that you need to bring to building great strategic objectives for your school too. The second article that you'll receive every month is for your teachers, and it's about that behaviour management and it's about practice. It's about how you can manage behaviour consistently, and we're going to touch on those really practical aspects that we know Australian teachers are dealing with every single day. We'll talk about bullying. We'll talk about the most difficult kids that you work with, that 3 to 5% of the student population that will often take up 80% of your time. We'll talk about how you can practice consistently, how you can practice restoratively, and how you can best make sure that your classroom is running like the well-oiled machine that you would like it to run as. The third thing you're going to receive is a monthly little video link. So your school will receive a less than 2-minute video that will connect strongly to the focus that we've provided for our teachers around practice, and you can play that at a staff meeting just to get some conversation going and to make sure that we continue to talk about practice and not just about the operational aspects of being in a school. The fourth thing that you'll receive is our Real School Cultures Manual. So that's really what we believe is a game-changing ebook. One of the things that we find in talking to people about culture is they're really happy to engage in the idea of discussing what the culture of their school is like. Ask people to define what a school culture is, and we get lots of umming and ahhing, and it's really difficult to do. This book does that for you. It outlines for you the key aspects and the key thinking and the key behaviours that you need to have on the agenda to be able to build a successful school culture. And the very second you sign up as a Real Schools member, you'll receive that ebook. The next thing that you'll receive is you'll get our monthly Real Schools newsletter that tells you a little bit about the offerings that we have around Australia, the different programs that we're running and the ways that you can get in touch with them. The sixth thing that you'll receive is you'll receive a set of Real Schools wristbands, and I've got one of these on for me at the moment. And look, the truth is that if this was about advertising, we could be sending you a fridge magnet or a stubby holder, but we're not. The Real Schools wristbands are a reminder any PD or any learning or any dialogue that you engage with around practice and or around school culture, we know that as human beings we only actually commit a small amount of that to long-term memory, and we commit a smaller percentage again to practice. This is the wristband serve as a reminder, so it might seem a little bit of fun and a little bit of advertising, but there's really a bit of thinking behind that as well. The seventh thing you receive by being a Real Schools member is that if you decide to engage with us around PD as a member, you get an automatic 10% discount. You also, the eighth thing that you receive is you get access to free webinars throughout the year for teachers, so you'll be able to see in advance what the topic of the webinar is and decide, yep, we need to get this teacher and this assistant teacher involved in that webinar, and they'll run throughout the year, and no matter where you are in Australia, you'll have full access to those. The ninth thing that you can know is that every offer that we provide you through Real Schools, whether it's the articles, whether it's the videos, whether it's any of the PD that we have, is directly linked to the AITSL professional standards, both for teachers and for principals or school leaders, and you'll know what they are. And so the main thing that we really want to establish there is that you can know that the professional learning that you're receiving from us, whether it's small, whether it's large, is going to be connected to something that's relevant and that is well researched as being something that's connected to your school. And then the final thing that we think is a major benefit of becoming a Real Schools member is that you become you join a community. You join a community of government schools, of independent schools, of Catholic schools, of primary schools, of secondary schools, who all know that there's more important things to do in schools apart from test kids. You all know that it's about developing the next generation of citizens so that they can leave the world in better shape than when they found it. And for me, that might sound a little bit ethereal and a little bit warm and fuzzy, but that's the real benefit of becoming a Real Schools member, is that we can make sure that your practice and your work is connected to the head reasons that you have for being in education, and also the heart reasons. You're only a couple of clicks away, and the membership for your school will only be $249 for 12 months, which means that you're committing to an ongoing partnership in PD for around $20 a month. And like I said, you're only a couple of clicks away from getting it done. I'm really excited about working with you and with your school, and I can't wait to hear from you.